Today I'm going to be looking at the Jane Davenport Aquapastels. This was sent to me by Jane Davenport and American Crafts. I think these are new to the line, but they are watercolor crayons according to the package. Now the back of the package says, easily create beautiful watercolor effects, simply apply the desired amount of color, add water, and watch your crayon colors magically transform into a lovely watercolor palette. Now, according to the website, these are all named after some of her favorite artists. It'll be interesting to see what artists she's named them after. I don't know if they're available at all Michaels yet, but they will be available at Michaels, and I found them on the website for $24.99 at Michaels before using a coupon. But like I have always said, when you're buying something a little bit pricey at Michaels, make sure to use the coupon. So this is a tin that they come in. Let's find out, does this lid come off? No, so the lid is attached. And it doesn't actually go down all the way, as you can see. It kind of, whoa, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But you hold it like this, and this is about as far down as it goes. Now I'm going to see if I can put these back in whatever order they were supposed to be in. And they left some, they definitely feel waxy, at least from what they, I'm going to water up my desk and kind of try and get them wiped off so that my desk isn't covered in like water. Well, now we know that they are pigmented, don't we? We have 12 colors here in this little tin, and they feel very much waxy like a crayon. I was thinking that they might feel that kind of gel wax that you get from like gelatos. They feel less like lipstick and more kind of akin to like if you took a crayon and like an oil pastel and you crossed them. That's what they feel like to the touch. So let's go into my handy, almost empty, holy shit, I'm gonna have to order another one of these soon, Moleskine watercolor notebook. So I have a paper towel, I've got my Aquash watercolor brush, and I have got these crayons. Now really quick, I am going to write the names down of these particular colors so that I know what in the hell I am doing when I'm swatching. I think there's only two of them that I'm not familiar with. Now I may pronounce any of these wrong. That is entirely possible. The first color is Monet, which is the yellow in the pack. Okay, so that lays color down very much like a crayon. Like, I don't know if you can see, let me zoom in. You can see the texture coming through. So that's the color with no water. I'm gonna just stay zoomed in. I think that this will be a better look at the color. It does not feel very creamy. It feels almost a little rough. Like if I'm rubbing this on my finger, it has like a creamy texture and it comes off. Like you can see the yellow is on my finger. Maybe it's the paper. It feels not chunky, but it doesn't have that like slippery lipstick feel the way that a gelato does. Now I'm going to color a little bit more on here to check for water. And I'm going to take my Aquash brush and wake it up, and oh, that is beautiful. Look at that color. Like that is a gorgeous, like nice, rich pigment. Any like chunkiness on here blended right out. I'm also gonna check to see how these smudge with the finger. I didn't leave myself enough room for that, but I'm gonna do that one more time. So there's some of that, because one of my favorite ways to work with things like gelatos is to blend them with my fingers dry. So let's see how that works. I'm just gonna rub it with my finger a little bit. Now, as you can see, the warmth of my finger did wake it up and it did smear out a little bit, but that initial chunk on there stayed. Second color is Laurencine. This is one of the artists I am not super familiar with. And this looks like it's like a peachy color that I think shows even better than the yellow that it's picking up the texture of the paper. And there's a little bit more to smear with my finger. I'm going to smear before I put water down this time because it'll be easier to not touch it. That barely blended out at all with my finger. That is really subtle and pretty. It's nowhere near as bright as the yellow, but it is very soft and subtle, which I like. I'm going to see if I can get a little bit of a darker payoff, if I can get some more of this on. So I was coloring like straight up and down. I'm going to try coloring. There we go. I used it like at an angle. As you can see, I kind of I pushed it down a little bit on the side, and that lay a little bit more color down. And that, it's still a subtle color, but like it does blend out really gorgeously. So the next color, it's a reddish color, and it's called Dali. Salvador Dali is my favorite artist. Cooler toned red. Blend it out just a little with my finger. Let's check this out with water. Ooh. You know, in all of Jane Davenport's line, the watercolors, the mermaid markers, the reds that are kind of this color, this like sort of cooler toned red, more purpley red, are always so gorgeous. Now it looks like we have more of a true red called Cezanne, someone I, yes, am aware of. Now the red kind of smudges out a bit more, but I'm of the opinion that from what I have done thus far with all of these colors, that I don't know if they're even meant to be blended out with your finger, because these crayons have a very different texture from gelatos or from things like that. So I'm assuming maybe not. It's not really something that they do, though I think you can get a nice little blurred effect, but you won't be able to blend all of it out. Painting it, however, though, that is a beautiful red. The next color is Frida, and it looks like it's gonna be kind of a pink. That's like a magenta. That is really pretty. All right, let's water this one down. Now, when you're watering these, I'm already noticing, and this does apply the same to other kind of solid watercolor crayon-y type products. You're gonna wanna, if you wanna really break up all the chunks of color, you're gonna wanna work your brush around in it for a few seconds till you see them dissolve upwards, and then blend it out. Okay, the next color is called Gauguin. I know the artist, but I don't know if I'm pronouncing the name right. I never can pronounce this right. It looks like it's probably a brown. It's hard to tell just glancing because the color of the crayon itself is so kind of dusty looking, but that doesn't transfer to the actual paper. And I was right, it's a brown. The next color is, it looks like kind of a purple. Ingres, I don't know. Ingres, that's the other artist I don't know. It's kind of like a lavender-ish purple. I wonder how these would sharpen. I'm not gonna sharpen them because I don't want to. I'm just curious for like detail work. These are so pretty. The next one is Michelangelo, my favorite Ninja Turtle. That's actually not true. My favorite is Donatello, but strangely enough, Michelangelo is purple, just like Donatello. I'm being an asshole though, when it comes to comparing like the masters to Ninja Turtles. But if you ever are interested in watching it, there's a Epic Rap Battles of History. That one's smudged out kind of pretty, where they pit Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, and Raphael, the masters versus the turtles, which I thought was really funny. Completely side note, although not entirely unrelated, as the great Michelangelo is one of the great masters here being named. That purple is really vibrant. We have Van Gogh, which looks like it's a dark blue, not really a navy, a little bit brighter than a navy, but still like a nice dark blue. Ooh, oh, that's pretty. And then for a lighter blue, we have Botticelli. Really pretty too. I feel like I'm just repeating myself over and over again, but these are really pretty. Okay, then we have a dark green for Da Vinci. And if you're looking at the side of this, like that powderiness that I keep talking about here, like look how powdery that looks, and then look how nice and dark that color is. So I would say that the actual crayon itself, you can't really see the color. If you're looking at these to color with, don't look at the actual crayon itself for color, look at the paper, because that seems, like for the most part, they seem to be pretty accurate, which is nice. It's not always the case with art supplies. Oh, I like this color. This is like a kind of like bluish foresty green. Oh, that's pretty. Or almost like a dark teal. The last one is Toulouse-Lautrec, who is, I didn't really know about when I was younger. Then I watched Moulin Rouge, and freaking John Leguizamo played Toulouse. And I was like, what the fuck? And so I looked him up. Oh, there's other color on my finger. I should do that with a different finger. There we go. Ooh, that kind of blends nicely with my finger. I saw John Leguizamo playing Toulouse in Moulin Rouge, and I was like, the fuck? And so I looked him up, and I was like, oh, I know all of these paintings. Oh, this guy is a staple in college bedrooms. And I feel like looking at some of these colors, like I don't know for sure if they all completely match the artists that go with them, but I feel like the Van Gogh, the Starry Night painting of Van Gogh's, this blue kind of goes with that. And I feel like this bright green for Toulouse really feels kind of appropriate because all of his paintings have such bright like in your face colors. I'll show you something really quick, just to show you kind of the versatility of crayons like this. Now first I'll show you with my fingers. So I'm gonna draw a line to imagine that's the edge of something, and I'm gonna blend outwards with my finger. Now you can't get very precise with this because unless your fingers are super small and tiny, but see how you can create a like shadow almost on it? That can be a really nice effect. Now fair warning, when you do this, A, you get covered in it, but B, you also, your fingers can get sore because it does take a lot of pressure to even get that much. But I do like having that to feather it out almost, to leave the same crisp line, but to add a little bit of softness around it, because it's harder to do with water, because with the water, it starts to activate all of the pigment, and then you have to be careful. So as an example, I'll show you again. Here's a line here, and I'm gonna just try and bring, I'm not even squeezing my water brush, it's just the water that's already on it. I'm gonna gently like try and create that same effect, and notice that it's already a little bit darker, but I gotta be real careful to not activate the pigment. Now, if I really wanted to pull it out, I could go back in and just being careful to try not to go too far over the line to like deepen up, and you can create a nice gradient effect. This is the beauty of using things like watercolor crayons, watercolor pencils. You can put your preciseness in and then add the water to blend it out. Now, another way that you can be useful with this sort of situation, I'm going to take this again, I'm going to draw that in, and then I'm going to draw right next to it the other green. And I'm going to take my water brush and start activating this. And notice the green on the other side of it is activating, but I'm going to try and break the green up. I just want to add that color in, but I want to keep the dark line. So I'm going to continue to break up the dark line, going like along the edge with the water back and forth till it's fully awake, and then I'm going to start drawing it out with the other green. And then again, you can see sort of the same effect, how you can build these. And then if you wanted to, you could really go back in, break the line up, and then see how it's starting to just move with the water, and that creates a nice shadowing effect. My heater just kicked on. You're probably going to hear that in the background. I'm going to take the purple, and I'm going to draw just a quick little flower like this. Go in really gently with my water brush, and I'm going to try and keep the edges of the petals, but I want to make sure that the color kind of comes in. Now, if I wanted to go and like really soften the edges so they don't look quite so crayon-y, I'll work my way around the edges to try and keep that same deepness of color in there, but not have all of the crayon looking marks. But it's a way to get that kind of detailed darkness in without having to go in with like a liner brush and be super precise. You can just, and it's not going to be perfectly precise. That, I mean, to be fair with watercolors, I myself am rarely perfectly precise. I'm not perfectly precise with anything, and that's not really my style. But if you look how I sort of softened that up, and it just sort of created the flower. Oh, there, the heater's really kicking in. So I've got that flower in. Now, like, let's say I want to add some leaves to it, and I want to add some shadows to the leaves. So I'm going to take the green one, and I'm going to draw a leaf in here, and a leaf in here, and then I'm going to take the Toulouse-Lautrec color and just add a little line, and now I'm going to go in with the water again. I'm going to try and avoid the purple. I could just let it dry, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to just try and avoid it. And see how the greens kind of meld together. And again, I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to break up the crayoniness, but not lose the darkness on the edges. I'm just sort of working my way around. Now these are actually a lot of fun to learn how to deal with water soluble mediums, these kinds of things, watercolor pencils, because then you don't have to completely just use a paintbrush to draw everything out. You can draw everything out more traditionally with the pencils or the crayons or whatever, and then go in with the water and create the watercolor effects. And that is a fun way to kind of, is this dry yet? I think that's mostly dry. I'm going to see if I can get a little yellow in without it looking awful. Probably not though. It's a little bit of yellow in the center, and I'm just going to kind of wake it up. There we go. But see, look, nice, create a nice little flower. And all I did was draw it with the crayons and then use the water to make the color look pretty and like watercolory. So here are the colors from the Jane Davenport Aquapastels. I love the color palette. I think it is really pretty. I am a fan of these kinds of things. If you would like to see a video where I compare these, I also have the gelatos, I have gel highlighters, and I have Michael's watercolor crayons, and I have watercolor pencils. If you'd like me to do like a comparison of all of these things at some point, let me know in the future. But just looking at these, like, they don't work exactly like gelatos. They don't blend as well with your fingers, but they do paint out absolutely stunning. I think that this kind of set is ideal for someone who is learning how to watercolor, because half of it you can do if you have any sort of experience sketching or drawing. You can do that first and not have to worry about controlling how you paint the details of something. You can just draw the details and then add the water later to make it look watercolory, which I think is a great thing. One of the things I've begun to notice with her products is that she tends to add colors that kind of blend together, like these blues or these greens or these purples. They're not, there's a spectrum rather than individual stark colors. And in this kind of a set, I super appreciate it because, like, as you can see, it's really fun to work with things like that and blend them out and have them kind of gradient out from each other. Have you tried these? Are you interested in trying these? Let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.